And on this November 1st, we welcome you into the postseason preview show as our fall sports teams here at Penn State are into Big Ten tournament season. 3 teams competing in the Big Ten tournament. Penn State women's soccer already with an opening round quarterfinal win at Wisconsin on Sunday. Brian Tripp, thrilled to be with you tonight from Rec Hall. We'll hear from members of the Penn State women's soccer team, field hockey team, which is the Big Ten regular season co-champs, and Penn State men's soccer all into the Big Ten tournaments. The great postseason push coming up. And we'll also talk with Penn State women's volleyball's Cassie Kirshen as they prepare for a huge home match right here at Rec Hall tomorrow night for the Penn State women's volleyball team taking on Maryland. But Brian Tripp, thrilled to be with you once again. We're going to go through highlights for each of those teams as well. And let's jump right in. Penn State field hockey on the road at Rutgers on Friday, needing a win to clinch a share of the Big Ten regular season championship. And Penn State gets off to a great start on the goal. Penn State a 1-0 lead at 18:35, set up on the corner by Elena Voss and Mackenzie Alessi. Rutgers would rally to tie it at 1, but then Penn State, again, Simon, her second of the game, this time from Grace Wallace, a 2-1 lead. The Nittany Lions need this game. They needed to beat Maryland. They needed to beat Rutgers to clinch a share of the Big Ten regular season championship. Penn State takes a 2-1 lead. Then fourth quarter, trying to tack on a little insurance. It's Gemma Punch. Bang, back of the goal, punch with the goal. Penn State goes up 3-1 at 46:02. Just needs to close it out with that strong defense. And Bree Baracco back in goal. Alessi assisting on that tally. Penn State a 3-1 lead. That score would hold. And the Nittany Lions celebrate on the road at Rutgers a Big Ten regular season championship for Charmaret Curtis and her Penn State field hockey team. A great accomplishment here in the 2022 season. Congratulations to the Penn State field hockey team. They're training right now before their Big Ten tournament is coming up. That meant so much to the program, and I had a chance to talk to Mackenzie Alessi, who had a pair of assists in that clinching game earlier today to talk about that milestone accomplishment.
All right, Mackenzie, I know winning the Big Ten regular season championship is just the first step, but what did it mean for your class to get that done?
It meant so much to us because we've worked so hard through preseason, in the summer, so it really just showed our dedication to the Penn State program.
You've played so well here down the stretch. How do you carry that momentum over into the postseason?
Yeah, I just think we take it day by day. Don't look too far ahead or just don't stay complacent on what we've completed. I think everyone here is so self-driven and motivated to just keep getting better.
What do you like about the way your team's playing right now?
We are just playing so much as a team. We are playing for each other, with each other at all times. I feel like there's nobody dipping down or anything. We're just playing with confidence and just having fun.
How does the experience that this team has really pay off as you go into these postseason experiences together once again?
Yeah, this is amazing because we have been here before. We were not in the first round. We made it to the semifinals last year, and we lost, and we made it to NCAAs and lost again. So I think now that we have the confidence and more of the experience of being in postseason, we're ready to tackle it.
But you talked about it too. If you have your eye on the prize, you still need to take it day by day. How important is that message every single day out here practicing?
It is super focused. We have to have focused practice every day in order to get better. So really just taking what's the task at hand today in order for us to be better for the next day.
Congrats and good luck.
Thank you.
Well, let's take a look at that bracket. Penn State, because of that win over Rutgers, is the number 1 overall seed, so they get a bye into the semifinals. They'll take on the winner of Iowa and Michigan. Bottom half of the bracket, Northwestern and Rutgers, Maryland and Ohio State. The Big Ten is absolutely loaded again this year in field hockey. Penn State, though, a dominant year, 15-2, 7-1 in the conference, outscoring opponents this year 54-19. They're ranked number 3 in the country and 7 straight wins to end the regular season. So they have a lot of momentum. Sophia Gladio, 20 goals this year, pacing the team, 43 points. I had a chance to talk to her about what she expects coming up in this postseason.
What's the team's mindset and approach as you head into the Big Ten tournament?
One thing that we've been focusing a lot is just being confident. I think the difference from this year compared to last year is last year we were almost just as good. I just don't think we all had the confidence and believed that we really were good, but I think the difference this year is just knowing that we are such a talented group and we're going in there extremely confident but also very humbled. So we're really excited for that.
You had a lot of great experiences throughout the course of the season. The overtime battle against Iowa here, the really strong finish. How do all those experiences pay off now this time of year?
Yeah, definitely just getting that overtime experience early on in the season. We had, I think, 3 overtime games this year, if I'm right. Just getting that experience because, going into the Big Ten tournament, going into playoffs, you're going to see a lot more grit coming from every team in all conferences. So definitely getting that experience on the field, kind of pushing past, the 60 minutes, seeing what team has more energy left, what more that can they give. So I think that definitely helps us. And just like connecting more, it's 7v7, it's a lot smaller, not as many people, a lot more space, as I should say. And so I think it definitely helps us, figuring out just, how to end the game.
But when you say grit, the one team that comes to mind is your team right here. Why does your team have that grit?
I think we're just so competitive during the season, especially during practices. Sometimes we have to remind ourselves that we're just practicing and we're all teammates. So, but I think that definitely helps us practice. We just compete so hard against each other. So then once we get out on the field playing, our competitors, it shows out there. We're just extremely competitive, really hungry to win, and really hungry to score.
Mackenzie told me that your team is playing a great team game right now, and you also have so much depth on both sides, particularly offensively. How dangerous does that make your team?
Oh my God, yeah. Last year, I think one of our biggest struggles was just against some of those, I don't want to say not as talented, but teams that, were a little bit stronger than. We would, let in some sloppy goals. On our corner defense this year, it's just night and day. Our defense is so on point, and, going from that to the offense, I think we've just connected so much. I've been playing with Gemma and Grace since I was a freshman, so I think we've just really connected and grown so much as a team. We know how each other plays, so it's really easy to just, second nature at that point. I know where they're going to be. I know they know where I'm going to be, so it just clicks really well.
We've seen the fan support all year long here at your home field. We've seen the fan support at Nittanyville when you guys came back from Rutgers and winning the Big Ten championship. What has that meant all year? And whether they're just watching or they're traveling to watch you guys play, how important is that?
Oh my God, it makes all the difference, with the stadium being built right now and, still seeing 800 plus fans show up here. It's just amazing. The pride here is just unmatched, and coming back from Rutgers after claiming a share of the Big Ten conference and seeing everyone out there, camped out in Nittanyville, it honestly brought tears to my eyes, because I was just like, there's just no place like Penn State, and the pride is just amazing. And having people come from all over and after games asking for pictures and, just saying we look up to you guys so much, it just makes it all that's why we do it. So,
and hopefully bringing back 2 more trophies to celebrate again. Thanks so much. Good luck.
Thank you so much.
Let's take a look at that bracket again. Penn State as the #1 seed in the Big Ten tournament, which takes place in Columbus, Ohio. Semifinals on Friday. The finals are on Sunday on the Big Ten Network. And speaking of the Big Ten Network, head coach Charmaret Curtis earlier today joined the great Dave Revson on the Big Ten Network's Big Ten Today to discuss her team heading into the postseason.
You bring a lot of momentum into the tourney. 7 straight wins. Your last 2 games against Rutgers and Maryland, you outscored them by combined 8-2. Give me a sense of the state of your team heading into this tournament.
Well, obviously, we've really grown with our confidence the past couple weeks. I really am so impressed with this team, because whatever we put at them week to week this is what we're going to look for tactically. They come out, practice, and really absorb it, and then look to put it into the game. So I think just our growth throughout the season has been significant, and our defense has definitely stepped up the past couple weeks.
Char, this league is so good. I mean, you look at that bracket for the Big Ten tourney, it very well could be the NCAA tourney bracket. You got 4 of the top 6 teams in the country, 5 of the top 10. This was the story last year as well. How does playing in such a competitive Big Ten prepare you for the postseason?
Yeah, I mean, we're so proud to be a part of this conference. Congratulations to Maryland as well for the year that they've had. And just, you cannot take any game for granted in this conference. And I think that's what makes us so prepared for the postseason, is that we know that we've gone through such a challenging schedule. We try to schedule a very challenging non-conference schedule earlier in the season. But we know once we get to Big Ten time, every game you got to bring your A game.
Well, from field hockey to men's soccer, Penn State men's soccer opening up its Big Ten tournament play against the Indiana Hoosiers coming up as you take a look at the Big Ten men's soccer bracket. As you see the Nittany Lions in there as the #5 seed, taking on #4 seed Indiana on Friday in Bloomington. But Penn State finishing the regular season strong on Sunday against Michigan. As we take a look at the highlights from a rather overcast day in Ann Arbor. Michigan scoring the only goal in the opening half, but Penn State would rally for the next 2 goals. The teams combining for 3 goals in just over 10 minutes to start the second half. Penn State at 46-43. Van Danielson, who had a great game for Penn State, scored to tie the game, the equalizer 1-1. He'd score again at 53-11, and Penn State would take a 2-1 lead on the road in Ann Arbor against a very good Michigan team. Michigan would fight back. Nolan Miller, who had both their goals, tied it at 2 at 55-21. And then the game-winning goal for Penn State came from one of their leaders, Andrew Privet. with the game winner at 74-27. Nittany Lions get the victory on the road, taking on Michigan for a great road win to wrap up the regular season. Welcome back, Brian Tripp, joined now live by the head coach of the Penn State men's soccer team, Jeff Cook. And Coach, I have to imagine that type of win, the way your team battled to get the win, really sets the tone going into the postseason.
Yeah, it does. And I'm really proud of the guys for the resilience they showed coming back, getting in front of Michigan. We relinquished the lead there for a little bit. And then Andrew Privet, great goal, an excellent setup between Seth Kuhn and Matthew Henderson to get ourselves in front. And you said it, the Michigan, a very good team, hard place to go and play well. So I think that sets us up to prepare well for the game Friday night at IU.
Well, one of the questions that Dave Revson asked Charmarette Curtis earlier today was the strength of the Big Ten. There's nothing like it. It prepares you for everything you're going to face. How has the league prepared your team for what they'll see in this tournament upcoming?
Well, the way we think about it is the reality of how competitive every game is. And if you look at, we finished 5th, IU 4th, and the difference between doing that and winning the league is a 1 or 2 results over the course of the year, which is incredible to think about how fine the margins are. So the reality now is it's knockout competition. It's win in advance, and that's our intention going into Friday.
What does the team's mentality and mindset have to be this time of year?
Pay attention to details, stay focused on the moment, and control your environment. I think that's really those are the 3 keys. I really believe in this group. I think we've got an outstanding team. We've dealt with some adversity, some setbacks in terms of player availability from injuries and suspensions and different things like that. I mean, yellow and red card accumulations and things that are specific to our sport. But the way that this team has kept going, kept believing, I think you saw a lot of that come out on Sunday, and I think it really sets us up to attack Friday's game, and we've got to go out there and play to win.
And as you've battled that adversity, younger players, underclassmen have taken bigger roles with the program. What have the seniors meant in helping them acclimate into those larger roles?
It's something we talked about ahead of Michigan, because we had a couple of key players in Liam Butts and Femi Odesu who weren't available. And I said, we brought these younger players here because we know how outstanding they are and what their potential is, and we have to treat them with that same respect. And I think our senior leaders, our co-captains, our leadership group have done an excellent job of backing the words of the coach up. Is one thing for me to say it, right? But it's a completely another thing for the players in the field to step up and really play as that team is so important to us.
As we take a look at some of the highlights, Peter Mangione has factored in so many of them throughout the year, and he has done an excellent job at, number one, stepping up in big situations.
Sure.
But he's also someone that's going to get a lot of focus from opponents, particularly in the postseason. How has he handled those situations where now everyone knows? It was no secret coming into the year, but everyone knows who he is out there on the field.
I mean, first of all, what a player, what a competitor every single day in training. I've just come from Jeffrey Field, where he's working his tail off every day to just improve. And I think Peter, the great thing about him is he can adapt. And it connects a little to your question earlier about what to expect in the postseason, about being ready for that one moment that can decide a game. And it might come early in the game, it might come late, but Peter Mangione is the kind of guy, the way he prepares every single day makes it so much more likely he'll be ready to capitalize whatever that situation is. And his work rate, his relentless pursuit of excellence, it's inspirational for our group. He's a key guy for us, of course.
It doesn't matter who you play. It's going to be an opponent that you're very familiar with. But Indiana in particular, you're extremely familiar with.
Absolutely.
What's that game of cat and mouse like as you try to prepare now going into the postseason?
It's really interesting because it is that how much do you open up? How much do you try and go and score and get players forward early in the game versus I think the games become a lot more strategic in the postseason. You don't want to open up too early and show your cards, if that makes sense, to a team at IU that knows us well. And I think we know them really well. So that's going to be up to the players to manage that. But in terms of preparation, we want to make sure we don't overwhelm the guys. And our message is we are Penn State, right? We respect IU, of course, but I think we've got a fantastic group of guys and make sure that they just go in with energy, belief, and really a lot of confidence going into Friday night.
You've already touched on this a little bit, but throughout your career, you've been around a lot of great teams and teams that have had success in the postseason. What's the common trends between those teams that allow them to be successful this time of year?
I think the fundamental thing in the postseason is being really tight defensively. So if a team is going to score a goal, it has to be something pretty special. I think you have to minimize chances that you concede to the other team. And then our big players, Peter Mangione, Andrew Privet, Seth Kuhn, Liam Butts, the guys we've mentioned, I think have shown in the past historically that they can step up and create goals. And it's in the conference championship play. For me, it's so much about momentum. If you get in front, that momentum can be just, it feels like a avalanche coming against the team, right? And I think we want to be playing from the front as much as we can.
Well, Coach, we can't wait to watch on Friday against Indiana. Good luck. Really appreciate the time you carved out of a busy schedule this week to join
Thanks so
us.
much. We're excited to get going.
Penn State head coach Jeff Cook with us here as you take a look at the Penn State men's soccer tournament bracket. Shift gears from men's soccer to women's soccer. The Penn State women's soccer team already getting off to a great start in their tournament with a 1-0 victory over Wisconsin. Penn State with the 1-0 victory. Let's roll back some of the highlights from Penn State's game. And again, we're just looking at the goals. It's a low-scoring battle, as they so often are in the postseason, as Penn State, late in the game, scoreless game, really had to battle. And there she is, Allie Schlegel out front, burying the ball into the back of the goal. Schlegel with the winner, the senior rising to the occasion, and Penn State defeats Wisconsin in the Big Ten tournament quarterfinals. They'll celebrate what was a great victory for Erica Dombach and her squad. Penn State moves on to the semifinals with a 1-0 victory over the Wisconsin Badgers. Next up, Northwestern. As you can see, Northwestern defeated Rutgers 2-1 to reach the semifinals. Other half of the bracket, Michigan State and Nebraska. Penn State women's soccer training right now, but I had a chance to talk with their head coach, Erica Dombach, yesterday as the team just arrived back from Wisconsin after a huge win. Coach, congrats on the win. You guys are moving on. What did you like about your team's performance against Wisconsin?
Yeah, that's a tough road trip. Wisconsin's really tough at home and battles and aggressive. And I thought our team came out with a wonderful mentality. Our first 15 minutes were probably the best 15 minutes we've played all season. And then Wisconsin picked up their pressure. They started playing a little bit more direct. And to see the way our team responded, I was really proud of them going into this stretch.
No doubt that you find a way to get it done falls on the back of one of your seniors and your leader, Allie Schlegel. What did her goal mean to your team, and how did it come about?
Yeah, she's a gamer, right? When you talk about making plays, especially this time of year, she's the first one you're going to look to. And that's the person you want with the ball on her foot in front of the goal. And she comes through for you time and time again.
No matter what the experience may be this time of year, that's where you lean on that leadership. How important has the leadership been to your team throughout the year?
Yeah, the great thing about this group is that the leadership's a little bit by committee. There's quite a few that have stepped up and at different times have had their opportunity to shine. And you've got our obvious captains in Jill Jennings and Maddie Myers and Allie Schlegel, but people like Corey Dyke and Kate Wiesner we're seeing a lot of. There's this group has really stepped up.
I think that's the unique thing about a team. On paper, coming into a season, no matter how the year goes, you never know exactly what type of team you have, and you're always trying to figure out what the right puzzle pieces are. Where do you feel like you're at in that process now as you try to put your best performances together in the postseason?
I would say our depth is a big strength of our team. Our depth has also meant that we've seen a lot more changes than we typically do. We've moved a lot of these puzzle pieces around. Many of those pieces we're seeing fall into place, a couple that we're still moving around at this point. But really pleased with the progress and where we are going into this semifinal game.
And I know your team is at its best when you're able to be aggressive, but also not sacrifice anything on the other end. And that certainly was indicative in the game against Wisconsin on Sunday. How do you feel like your team is handling that balance right now?
I think the most important thing for us to stress right now is that the entire team attacks and the entire team defends. And to see the defensive effort from Peyton Linehan and Penelope Hawking and always Allie Schlegel, they set the tone. The defending starts from the front and the attacking starts from the back, starting with Kat Asman. And our team has really embraced that idea.
Now you take on Northwestern, a team that you did not face in the regular season. Is it good to face a new opponent this time of year, or would you rather have someone you're familiar with?
It's absolutely good to see somebody new. Northwestern's had a wonderful season and really well coached, and they're rolling right now. So we've got a tall order on our hands. But this weekend, going on the road, picking up a huge road win, shutting out Wisconsin, I think the team feels really good.
And then what do these days look like for you as you prepare? I look around here, food's thrown about, and everyone's in their sweats today as you guys prepare for a quick turnaround.
Yeah, I mean, with it being Halloween, there's a little bit of a lightness in the air. Our trainer, Andra, loves Halloween, so we've got to partake in all of her activities. But certainly just watching a ton of film, learning the lessons we can from these past games, but really focusing on what Northwestern and their strengths and figuring out how we're going to use our strengths to capitalize.
Did you have time to pick out costumes for your kids?
Yes, that's what Amazon's for.
What are they going as?
We've got one is Merida from Brave, and one is Owlette from PJ Masks.
You know where I am if you have any extra candy. Coach, good luck. Thanks so much. Enjoy Halloween.
Thanks, Brian.
Still waiting for that extra candy. Penn State and Northwestern in the Big Ten women's soccer semifinals, Michigan State and Nebraska on the other side of the bracket. Appreciate the time Coach Dombach carved out yesterday. We also talked with Coach Cook as we welcome you back live here inside a Rat Call. Brian Tripp joined by Juan Mendez now, who did just an awesome job all year long as the analyst on the Big Ten Plus streams for Penn State men's and women's soccer. And Juan, let's start with the men's team. When they're at their best, which they hope to be in the postseason, what makes them dangerous?
What makes this team dangerous, it definitely has to be the way they connect with each other and the philosophies that Jeff Cook has and the versatility of this team. They have so many people that can cover for each other, always overlap, do so many different moves and substitutions that really take the team to the next level. And my favorite thing about this team is the ability of players like Van Danielson to come at the bench and win them games just like that. And, of course, Mangione, Liam Butts, all those pieces, the chemistry attacking is just so good.
Well, one of the things I just talked to Coach about was that there is adversity. There's going to be ups and downs throughout the course of the season. Any team, no matter what the expectations are, is going to go through that. How has Penn State grown and become a better team as the season's gone on?
Oh, they've grown so much. At the beginning of the season, they saw so many shots. Chris Shakes was being attacked so often, and every time they closed out the defense and they fixed it the next game. Then maybe the attack less on the other game, they were able to fix that. So fixing those problems and the injuries too, that's a lot of adversity they faced. So bringing in players like Liam Butts when they're healthy with Mangione, that pairing, or Ben Housing stepping up for Privet in the middle or vice versa, it's been very efficient, and it's one of those tactics that, again, they really play out in this tournament.
Well, what makes that pairing and their offense so dangerous when they're humming at their best?
Oh, the fact that they're the best scoring duo, in my opinion. They're not statistically the top scoring duo in the Big Ten, but they clearly are. They have the most balanced amount of goals, I believe 8 and 7, and Mangione having 8, I believe. And just in seeing that, the ability of both the strikers to score that much, that often, be so impactful, both being at the field at the same time, it's just clear, and it really benefits the team on the attacking end.
Look, there's not going to be an easy match in this postseason. They start with Indiana. Everyone knows the history between these two teams, all the championship games that they've played in. It's a tough challenge. But what would be some keys to success that will allow Penn State to prevail when they have their A game?
The key to success will be, like it was spoken by Jeff Cook before, winning against Michigan on the road to end the season, and now Indiana, who they faced last year to win everything, to win the Big Ten tournament, being able to face them first, having a chip on their shoulder, having all this momentum, and having again to prove themselves even after last year's success.
For the women's team, they're in a pretty good spot to reach the NCAA tournament for a 16th consecutive season under head coach Erica Dombach. What has impressed you when you've been able to watch them play this year?
Oh, definitely the consistency, but the ability to bring in new faces and have them fit so well in that team. Penelope Hawking, for example, fit right in, one of the top scorers when she played in California out there, and she just fit in perfectly. And having new players as well, not only transfers, but so many players, Amelia White as well, playing so incredible on the wings, and Ali Schlegel always consistent. Just that team always making those pieces fit so well. And that really is what impresses me about this team.
Well, I think that's something, too, that's very common between both the men's and women's programs is their culture is really strong. And when you have a strong culture, you can acclimate and bring in new faces, and they fit right in with a seamless process. And we talk about Ali Schlegel for the women's team, Peter Mangione for the men's team. Look, sometimes in the postseason, your superstars, they have to be the star, and they put a team on their back. But often, you need someone to be that unsung hero as well. Who are the under-the-radar players to watch as we head into the postseason for the soccer teams?
Oh, I absolutely love that. And I'll say the men's team, the guy that stepped up last year was certainly Chris Shakes, because he shut down, he got outscored on in the tournament. And this year, it would have to be either Chris Shakes once again, or on the back end, it will be Femi Awudesu, who a lot of people highlight him. But specifically him, his presence, he's going to have to play a big, big role in their success in this tournament. And for the women's team, I'll have to say the younger side, probably Olivia Smith, whenever she steps up, because we know their top 3 with Peyton Linehan as well is going to be so efficient. I'll say players like Olivia Smith in the middle and Corey Dyke are going to be very important in the progression.
Well, I noticed you go with some defensive players. There are players that sometimes aren't in the spotlight, but that's what wins. As we saw with Penn State's men's team last year, as you referenced, the shutouts all the way through the Big Ten tournament and route to the Big Ten regular season and postseason title, all that experience. You need to be solid defensively at both ends of the field. You have to excel when you get to the postseason. One, the other thing that impressed me this year, watching the Big Ten Plus streams that you did with a great group of students here at Penn State, is I'm not sure if you know this, but you're the first international student to be a part of our Big Ten Plus programming at Penn State.
The first.
The very first. What was that experience like for you getting as a student, as a junior in the Belisario College at Penn State, the opportunity to call such high-level soccer games day in and day out?
Oh, it was incredible getting that text about the opportunity because that's what I've been wanting to do for so long. And having it finally happen, I was just smiling. I told my parents, I told them all the time. And I was like, okay, I have to take advantage of this opportunity. And it makes me really happy because I get to do it in English, my second language, and being able to have people enjoy that in English as much as in Spanish. It really makes me feel happy about my progression and my journey through broadcasting and everything. So it's amazing.
And so you're from Colombia. You said you moved to the United States, and now you're here at Penn State. What's your dream job one day?
My dream job, I would love to cover a World Cup in English and Spanish. That is 100% my dream, whether it's broadcasting, whether it's commentating and analyzing, anything, but in a way that I could do it in both languages and reach both of the audiences. I feel like that's exactly what I want to do.
Well, I think you have a pretty good foundation.
Absolutely.
Really enjoyed your work this year, and look forward to seeing your continuing coverage of the teams going into your senior year. Hard to believe that probably already.
Too fast.
Yeah, way too fast. Juan, thanks so much for breaking it down with us here tonight.
Thank you so much.
On our postseason preview show, let's take a look at what's coming up on Big Ten Plus this week as we look at other sports across campus. Penn State women's hockey ranked 11th in the country, taking on Mercyhurst Friday at 3, Saturday at 1. They're actually playing double headers this weekend with the Penn State men's hockey team, which is ranked 13th in the country and hosting number 1 Michigan at Pagula Ice Arena. Swimming and diving, West Virginia against Penn State Friday at 5, Saturday at 11. Have a great stream on Big Ten Plus coming from Penn State's natatorium on Friday and Saturday. And then men's soccer, Penn State at Indiana, Friday at 7 p.m., which is just a very, very busy schedule we have for you on Big Ten Plus. Speaking of, the Penn State women's volleyball team has had a busy year already. You can see, look, we're almost getting down to the nitty-gritty now, the very end, the finish. Penn State taking on Maryland coming up tomorrow night at Rec Hall. Then they're on the road until they get back here for their Wear White match on November 18th against Minnesota. Penn State, some big matches down the stretch. They've had a great year this year under first-year head coach Katie Schumacher-Cawley, as Penn State and Maryland will square off at Rec Hall tomorrow night. And to help preview that match, we're joined by sophomore defensive specialist Cassie Kirshen now, as Penn State and Maryland square off tomorrow night. We're right in your home digs here, where you're just doing film a little bit ago.
Yes, we were.
Cassie, tomorrow night is MVP night, Most Valuable Professor night. What's your favorite class and your favorite professor on campus?
I have two. So I have two favorite professors. One of them teaches anatomy and physiology, which is my favorite class. That's Dr. Squires. And I have organic chemistry, which is not my favorite class, but the professor, Dr. Hawk, has done a great job making it way easier than I had heard before I started taking it.
Well, it sounds challenging. I don't even know where to begin. So what's your major?
I am in pre-med/science. I haven't decided yet, but I'm both.
Well, you were smiling over there when we talked to Juan about his lofty goals and dream job. Your dream job is?
To be an orthodontist, and I want to have my own business and be my own boss. So that's definitely my dream job.
That's very cool.
Yes.
Very, very cool. We saw the team. There was a video out earlier this week, received the Elena Deladon shoes, the first female team to wear an all-female branded shoe from Nike. What was that moment like? Was it completely unexpected when you saw those sneakers?
So word on the street was that we were getting new shoes. That's what we had heard, but we didn't know the meaning behind them. So we got in there. We had no idea what was coming. We didn't know when we were getting the new shoes. But I think it's awesome. Like, we had no idea, and the meaning behind it is so special. And to be able to support a woman in a area where men are usually dominant, I think that's super important. And I hope other teams follow in our footsteps as well.
And me too. And it's so great to see your team rocking those kicks. It's going to look great out there on the court. I know you're trying to wear them in and break them in right now.
Exactly. They're comfy, though. I recommend them.
You're a good salesperson as well. Let's shift gears, talk a little volleyball. Passing is so critical out of the back row. Where do you feel like you're at right now in that process? Because you know that is what sets up the rest of the team to go.
Right. I think we've been working really hard on that this season and focusing on the little details and following the ball to the line and talking to the passers beside you. So I think we're in the best spot we've been all season, and we hope to continue to get better and focus on that.
This is a one down in the South Gym, those long days, hot South Gym, that for so many new faces and so many changing parts, it was so close-knit right off the bat. How has that helped the team through the course of what is always a challenging season?
Yeah, I think it's been super important. I think the closer that you are, the easier it is to compete together and the more everything means to you. So for us to be able to bring all the new people in and get along really well, I think it's shown in our performance how much that helps.
Well, when you're going through that too, you just talked about communication that you need in the back row. You have to be able to have those honest conversations when you're out there on the court and to trust each other. Trust is so important.
Yes, and I think through practice, we've definitely worked on that. And we've worked on, like you said, communicating and having those real hard conversations to make sure that we're in the best spot that we can be and we're able to trust everyone on the team.
The results sometimes may not be indicative of the way a team is growing, and your team is growing every single day. Where do you feel like the biggest strides have been made here over the last couple of weeks to where you're at your best right now on November 1st?
Yes, I don't know. I think the whole game's been a huge improvement. I think the setters have been working really hard, getting their connections with their hitters. The passers have been working hard individually to be in the best spots and help the blockers out. So I think our whole game has grown, and there's not just one part I can be like, oh yeah, this is it, because literally the whole game's changed for us, I think, since the beginning.
That's the sign of a really good team, too, a well-coached team. There's no doubt about that. And as we just talked with Coach Cook, we talked with Coach Dombach, every team's going to go through a little adversity. And Taylor Trammell went down, but Allie Holland in the middle is having an unbelievable year. What makes her so talented?
She's insane. We were laughing about it in the locker room just now, but she works so hard every day in practice. I mean, the way she plays in the game, that's how she is in practice, and that's so vital and that's so important, but it's such a hard thing to do. And Allie Holland does it every single day. And she's such a good leader. She's a very positive leader. So she's definitely a huge part of the team, yeah.
Another leader is someone who had a lot of experience coming in here to Penn State, Salesa Elisaya, the setter. She's the floor general out there. How would you describe her?
I would describe her also as a very positive person that loves to compete. And Lace's worked really hard on her craft because it's hard, especially as a setter, to come in to a completely new place, completely new system. But I think she's also made huge strides. And she hasn't given up on herself, and she hasn't given up on us, and it's showing. Yeah, she's awesome.
No nights off in the Big Ten. Maryland's here tomorrow night. Great team, coached by a former Penn Stater and Adam Hughes. Will be great to have him back here at Rec Hall. Fans coming out tomorrow to see your team on November the 2nd. The calendar has flipped to November. What can they expect from your team tomorrow night?
I think they can expect us to continue to work hard and be better than we were against Ohio State. And I think we've definitely been focusing on executing the plays where maybe we let go of our mental focus for a little bit. So I think just a cleaner team and the same competitive, close-knit team that we are.
Cassie, thanks so much. Good luck. Thanks for joining us here.
Thank you.
Cassie Kirsten joining us from the Penn State women's volleyball team. There's a look at their schedule once again. Maryland on tap for tomorrow night. Then Rutgers, Indiana, Purdue going on the road for a little bit. Minnesota back at home for the Wear White match. Our Penn State women's volleyball team again home right here at Rec Hall tomorrow night against the Maryland Terrapins. The Penn State cross country. Don't forget, next week it's the Mid-Atlantic Regional Race, Friday the 11th at the Penn State golf courses. How about the Penn State women's cross country team, ranked number 3 in the Mid-Atlantic region? They've succeeded against regional opponents in past meets this year, second overall out of 18 teams at the Penn State National Open, which was hosted here at the Penn State golf courses. Multiple 6K personal bests, and really a great upper class group for the Penn State cross country team. The women are going to run their 6K at noon, the men at 1 o'clock next Friday. So they're also going into the postseason for the Penn State cross country team. And also coming up this week, we have the Unrivaled Weekly Preview Show tomorrow night from the Lash Building. 16th ranked Penn State at Indiana this week on the road, a 3:30 kickoff. We'll talk with couple of Penn State student athletes tomorrow night. We'll also get the thoughts of head coach James Franklin with his weekly Wednesday media availability tomorrow night with the Unrivaled Weekly Preview Show coming to you live on many of these same outlets from the Lash Building. Thanks so much for tuning in tonight. Hope you enjoyed our stream here of our push to the postseason for the Penn State fall sports teams. Good luck to the men's soccer, women's soccer, field hockey, women's volleyball. Everyone's still competing right now. And of course, a busy, busy time here on campus. Basketball actually begins next week already. But thank you so much for tuning in tonight. Great work by Ross Woomer, our producer, once again. But we really appreciate everyone tuning in. And best of luck to each of those Penn State teams competing. You can follow all the social media channels. Go PSUsports.com for more information throughout the postseason. Thanks to all our guests. Thank you for watching. Let's get on out of here. Good luck to all those teams as Penn State heads into the postseason in fall sports. Thanks for tuning in, everyone.